Greetings, fellow Yu-Gi-Oh! Enthusiasts. This is Team Aurora Leader Delta, and today I'm going to show you, or tell you, the deck profile of my World Chalice Cyberse deck. This deck I keep changing on, and I finally got a good variant, or at least I think, today, using cards that I own. I would show you the cards in video, but I am currently having issues with my webcam, which means I cannot record anything that isn't on screen. So enjoy this nice fan art that I found online. Don't know the artist because everything that's captioned about it on Google is in Spanish. So, anyways, I want to start off the deck by talking about the World Chalice cards because there aren't as many of them as there are Cybers. They're more of like, I would say, an engine, but then again, they kind of aren't an engine. They're their own thing. Um, but anyway, not too many of them. So we run 2 Lee the World Chalice Fairies because of the search effect. People normally run 3, but A, I have 2. B, why when you don't have that many in World Chalice monsters in the deck. Normal special summon, search World Chalice monster from your deck, and then if this card's in the graveyard, you can send a monster from your hand or field to the grave to add this card to your hand, which is pretty good. Although you are relying on a 100 attack monster with 2000 defense on a normal summon or special summon in order to search, so be careful about that. You might want to use it for a link summon as fast as you can. Then we run 2 of each vanilla, so that's 2 Beckoned, 2 Chosen, and then 2 Crowned. I used to run 3 of each vanilla except for Beckon, which I only had 2 of, but that'd make my deck be at like 60 if I went with my old variants. And besides, they can get really, really cloggy, especially considering that none of them are Cyberse, and most of our extra deck requires Cyberse, or something like that. So, yeah, and yeah, so they're all normal monsters too, so they have no effect, so that's pretty bad. My favorite to bring out is Crowned, because she has the good 2100 defense, but beware if she's put into attack mode, she has 0 attack. It's a lead, but the attack was given to the defense. And then finally, for the monsters, we run 2 World Legacy World Chalice. I used to run 3 of them, but I realized how cloggy it was. It was literally a level 5 monster that I had almost no special summon ability of doing, other than when the Link monsters are sent to the grave. And so I dropped it down to 2, so basically 2 of every monster that World Chalice has, except for Guard Dragon, which I do not own, sadly. If I did own it, I would definitely run that too as well. But yeah, World Legacy World Chalice has a great effect. If a monster is special summoned the extra deck, except during the damage step, you contribute this card and send the monster to the grave. And that's really good nowadays, considering almost everything is from the extra deck. Or everything good is from the extra deck, really, unless you're going against, like, Necros player. You don't see any of those anymore. But World Legacy World Chalice also has 2 other effects. This face-up normal summoned or set card leaves the field. You can special summon 2 World Chalice monsters from your deck, except World Legacy World Chalice. To normal summon or set it, I normally tribute like something like my Abductor World Chalice Dragon. So not only can I have a normal summoned World Legacy World Chalice or normal set, never mind, actually face up, because World Legacy World Chalice needs to be face up when it leaves the field. I can also special summon using Mduck's effect, so I can have 2 monsters, and then if they destroy World Legacy World Chalice, yes, you will take the damage. Oh, Arc 5 references. But you'll be able to summon 2 more, and then you'll have 3 monsters on the field. And then also during your main phase of this turn, card sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your grave to add a World Legacy card from your deck to your hand. Just add another World Legacy World Chalice. Or you can add the next card, World Legacy Heart. I almost said World Legacy World Heart. But yeah, you target 2 World Chalice in your grave with different names, add them to your hand. And if your Link monster would be destroyed by battle, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only activate 1 World Legacy's Heart per turn. Basic card, definitely run 3 at all times. If you, unless you have like 1 of each of the cards, even so, run like 1 or 2. And finally, for the World Chalice / World Legacy support, we have the World Legacy Discovery. All World Chalice monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. Once per turn, if you face up World Chalice monster you control destroyed by battle, it leaves the field because of opponent's card effect. You can target a World Chalice monster from your grave and special summon in defense position. Really good, because you get to special summon a free monster, basically, when one of yours is destroyed. It even counts for a link monster, so that means you'd have 2 monsters on the field if you had another World Chalice in your hand for the link monster's effect. So yeah, basic field spell, and also the stat boost is pretty nice, especially for your links like Ningirisu. And that's it for the World Chalice lineup. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 cards. So mostly it's just their own little side thing. I run them for the link monsters I have in the extra deck. But without further ado, let's get on with the Cyberse deck part of it. So I run 3 Draconet. Got my other 2 Draconets today, which is pretty nice, from packs and stuff. And then, so obviously you run 3 Draconet because normal summon him, special summon level 2 lower monster from your hand or deck, defense position. And for the normal monsters to use his effect with, I have 2 Protrons and a Bitron. Well, some people run 2 Protrons and a Digitron, some run one of each of the little Trons. But I just run 2 Protrons and a Bitron, because I like Bitron as a wall, and then the Protrons are nice level 1s for Prompt Thorn, which we'll get to later. But yeah, good card set right there. The Draconet stuff, really good card. Next we run 3 Backup Secretary. I might drop her down to 2 because she can get kind of cloggy at points, but if you control Cyberse monster, special summon for your hand, but you can only special summon it once per turn. And because of the once per turn, I don't know how cloggy she'll be. I just added the 3rd one today, haven't had any practice with it. But so far, she's going to be at 3, because you're almost always going to have a Cyberse monster on the field. That's it for the 3Os, actually. Now I have the 2 Prompt Thorn. This is the new support from Flames of Destruction. You can tribute a level 4 lower Cyberse monster to special summon any number of Cyberse normal monsters from your deck and or graveyard, with whose total levels equal the tributed monsters level in the field, that banish them during the end phase. The banishment's not really a problem due to the fact that you're going to use them for a link summon anyway. So you can tribute level 4 and get like all 3 of your normal monsters out. Level 3, get a Bitron and a Protron. Level 2, get 2 Protrons out or a single Bitron. And then level 1, you can just get literally just by tributing Prompt Thorn himself, you can just get a free Protron out. And say you have a ton of normal monsters in your hand, then boom, instant stuff for like a Link Spider or something. So, yep. Protron, not Protron, Prompt Thorn, good card. And then next is 2 Link Streamers. More support from Flames of Destruction. Also, it was used in the anime. Ooh. But when a Cyberse monster is normal special summon to the field while this monster is in the field, special summon a data token once per turn. And this card works amazing with Backup Secretary, as I found out. As you can summon Link Streamer, special summon Backup Secretary, and then you get a free token that's an instant decode, encode, or excode. Or basically almost any Link 3 in the extra deck other than like Ningirisu. But also its stats aren't too bad. 1600 attack, 1800 defense. Maybe set it face down and hope that your opponent doesn't summon anything with over 2000 attack in their first turn, which they probably will. But yeah, not bad. It's actually a good card. It also works with this next card, Link Infra Flyer, which you run 2 of. Special summon it to is Link Monster's Arrow. That's its effect. Special summon from your hand to a zone Link monster points to, which can be your opponent's Link monster too. If you have Link Streamer on the field, say you have a normal monster on the field, or even without Link Streamer, say you have a normal monster on the field, but like no normal monsters in your hand for Link Spider's effect, summon Link Spider and then special summon Link Infra Flyer instead, which is pretty good if you need effect monsters or something for anything. And if you have a Link Streamer on the field too, then boom, that's an instant data token. That's Psych 4. I would say you could summon Firewall Dragon, but I don't have Firewall Dragon. So, yeah. Anyway, I think that... No, that's not it for the 2 ofs, but this next one is 2 Link Slayer. Pretty standard. Control a monster, you special summon it, and you can only do. Actually, no, it's not once per turn. So if you get rid of a Link Slayer somehow, like your opponent trap, like I don't know, bottomless trap holes it. I don't know. You can just summon another one. Yeah, you can discard up to 2 cards, target that many spell or traps on the field, and destroy them. That's its best effect, which is nice backwards destruction. And also, you can discard stuff like Dotscaper, other things which we will get to in a minute. Speaking of which, and that's it for the 2-ofs, but speaking of Dotscaper, we run 1, card sent to the grave, special summon it. If it's banished, special summon it. You'll use 1 effect per turn, and each effect once per duel. We also run Stack Reviver because he also has a once per duel effect. It's used for a Link Summon, Revival, 4 lower Cyberse. That was used for the same Link Summon. That wasn't this card. Both effects are once per duel. That's why we only run 1. Dotscaper works well with things like Link Slayer or, I believe, the next card. Yep, Bit Trooper. That's a 1 of. You can send a level 2 or lower monster from your hand to the grave, special summon this card from your hand. You can only use the effect Bit Trooper once per turn. You have quite a few level 2 or lower monsters, especially stuff like Dotscaper. So, yeah, that's good. Or even your Cyberse normals for Prompt Thorn's effects, since it works in the graveyard too. You can use him for a Link Summon or for defending, because he has a nice 2000 defense. Next one, Ram Clouder. It's a good effect, but sometimes it can get a bit out of hand for you, literally out of hand, because it can clog up your hand if you have too many. Ha 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 ha. I'm so funny. You can tribute a monster, special summon Cyberse from your grave. Simple. Like, say you have a decode, encode, basically any Link monster in your grave that you need to get back, that's Cyberse. Summon Ram Clouder, tribute himself, summon your Link monster back. Next is 1 boot staggered. I would say sorry for the terrible condition that it's in, but you guys can't see it. But yeah, it's in pretty bad condition. That's why I'm glad I put this deck in sleeves. But yeah, when Cyberse monster is normal summon, special summon this card from your hand, and then when it inflicts damage to your opponent, special summon a stag token. Inflicting damage shouldn't be too much of a problem considering he has 2300 attack. But I only run 1 because A, I only have 1, and I got it for free from my friend, and that's why it's in terrible condition. And B, since I already have 4 other level 5s in this deck, and yeah, 4 level 5s and some other higher level monsters in the deck that have special summoning conditions, and some don't, I'm only gonna ever run 1 boot stagger because too many level 5s can be really, really cloggy, whether they can special summon themselves or not. So yeah, the tokens do come in really handy though, but it's only once per turn, so that's another downside. Then we got Salvagent Driver, support from Star Pack Brains. It's actually a really good card, and I don't see anyone really running it. Cyberse Link monster you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect while this card's in your hand or graveyard. This also works with stuff like Link Slayer. You can special summon this card, and then you can discard 1 spell and target a Cyberse monster from your grave and special summon it, but it cannot attack directly this turn, which can bring back the Link monster that was destroyed by the card effect, or anything else, really. And, I mean, we run a few spells, but, like, we don't have, like, a massive amount. That's why it's probably only best to run 1 of him. Actually, we kind of do have quite a few spells. But, and also he has 2200 attack, 2100 defense, so he can be a good wall. Yeah, and there's a lot of effect removal nowadays, so really good card to use. And then 1 D-grade Buster, one of my favorite cards probably ever because I love his art and his effect's really great too. 2500 attack and defense, he's level 7. Cannot be normal summoned or set, must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing 2 Cyberse monsters from your grave, so basically he's a BLS for the deck. You can target a monster your opponent controls with higher attack than this card, quick effect, and banish it until the end phase. Sorry, I got the hiccups now for some reason. You can only use the effective D-grade Buster once per turn. This is really great if your opponent has a big Link monster on the field, or really any other big monster with more than 2500 attack. Just imagine, though, if it was like a Dual Assemble Worm, which I no longer run in this deck. Like, if you special summon it with its effect, then its attack is halved. That you can just have this 2500 defense wall on your field with, like, only 1250 attack or whatever. But it'll be in defense mode, so it won't be a problem. Yeah, you can just keep banishing your opponent's monsters every turn. It's cool that it's during your turn or your opponent's turn. So that's pretty great. And that's it for the monster lineup. A lot of monsters. Like, a whole lot of monsters. But then again, it is a link deck. That's the entire point. But now to the spells. One Cynet Universe. It's an okay card. All link monsters you control gain 300 attack. And once per turn, you can target a monster in the grave, shuffle it into the deck. If only let you draw one card, too, that'd be really great. And if this card on the field is destroyed by the card effect, send all monsters in the extra monster zone to the grave. This is probably the best effect of it, is the final one. Because, yeah, it can, like, send, like, say your opponent has an extra link and manages to take up all the extra monsters in. What do? You pull out a handy Link Slayer or an MST or really anything in. Heck, even. Actually, no, you can't use Ningirisu's effect because that sends to the grave, not destroys. But anything that lets you destroy spells and traps, and then your opponent loses both their extra monsters and monsters, which is really great. But the shuffle effect is kind of nice too if you want to get back some, like a link monster or anything really. And then we run one security block. I only run one. I used to run two because I thought it was pretty cool, but it can also interrupt your plays. But it is nice protection, so cannot be destroyed by battle. But during the same turn, neither player should take damage. That's why it's a quick play, so you can use it during your opponent's turn. One-time passcode, a one-time passcode. It's a free token. Literally, what else can you say about it? And it has 2,000 attack and defense too, which is pretty great. But that's not what you need it for. It's a free token for a link summon. Say you already use your normal summon. There's nothing more I need to say about that. New card from Flames of Destruction and Linkbound. This is actually a pretty good card. I've been practicing messing around with it, and I realized that it was actually pretty good. Because you target a link monster you control in your grave, preferably in your grave, return, or even one that's been like Fiendish Chained or something on your field. Return to the extra deck and draw cards equal to its link rating, and then place cards from your hand on the bottom of the deck in any order equal to the number of cards you drew. You can only activate one link bound per turn, but I can help you get to some really good combo pieces, and also put some stuff that might be clogging up your hand, like any pesky level 5 or higher monsters that you can't summon. You can put those on the bottom of your deck. So, pretty good card, released from what I've been messing around with it. Now, basically, stuff you need in any deck, really. Soul Charge, it's a link deck. You need Soul Charge to revive your monsters. Dark Hole, I would say also a Regeki, but I don't have Regeki. But yeah, so Dark Hole, destroy a monster in the field, obviously. Monster Reborn, bring back a monster, either a link monster or a monster for a link summon. And then a Mystical Space Typhoon, or MST, because, yeah, you need MST. And then finally, for the traps, Limit Code. I would say also Recoded Alive too, but I don't have Recoded Alive. However, Chris does on the team. But yeah, so Limit Code, I have like so many copies of this, like 3. It's a pretty good card considering you have 3 different Code Talkers. I would say 4 if we had the new Code Talker. And I believe is the new deck in June or July? I think it's July. You can summon a Code Talker. It's a free Code Talker if you have multiple Cyberse links in your grave. So yeah, pretty great card, but you can only activate one per duel. Otherwise, I'd say run at least 2. And then finally, Cyberse Beacon. It's free search. It took any battle or effect damage. You can just add a level 4 or lower Cyberse from your deck to your hand, which is pretty great. Pretty great. And yeah, that's it for the main deck. Now we go on to the extra deck. One Link Spider. I would run 2, but yeah, have 1. Honeybot. I think I might drop her for a Nightmare Goblin. I don't know yet. I'm pretty sure I'm going to. So just you can also substitute Honeybot with any other good link too. One Proxy Dragon, and then 1 Space Insulator. Can't use him for a Link Summon, but I mean, hey, it's kind of an experimental thing. And now for the last Link 2, we have a Nightmare Phoenix, because, yeah, the Nightmares are really good in Cyberse decks. And then Link 3 is Decode Talker, Encode Talker, and Xcode Talker, because you need Code Talkers, obviously. And then Vector Scare Archfiend, because he's a pretty good Link 3, actually. His effect can be pretty funny if pulled off right. You can just keep getting a ton of attacks, especially if you use a Link Bumper, even though I don't run it in this extra deck anymore. Yeah, let's actually switch our focus back to the Code Talkers. Decode Talker, run 1. I would run 2, but yeah, I only have 1. Emphasis on that. And also, it's Yusaku's main monster, so you have to run it. It's like if you have a Dark Magician, you just have to put it in your deck. You could be running freaking Burning, but nope, you just have to freaking put a Dark Magician in your deck because it's Yugi's monster. Yeah, so Decode Talker, 1 Encode. His effect's kind of good, but sometimes it can be kind of situational at points. And then 1 Xcode, only for the extra Code Talker support for limit code. Otherwise, do not ever run Xcode Talker unless you're trying to make a Code Talker deck or something like that. Hopefully, we'll get more support cards for them in the new structure deck, like main deck support, I should say. But yeah, so because Xcode Talker is pretty bad. His effect is mediocre at best. And then the Vector Scare Archfiend. And that is it for the mainly quote-unquote Cyberse part, because I know Nightmare Phoenix isn't a Cyberse. But now, 1 second, let me just gather these back up. Now on to the World Chalice, and that is literally just 1 of each Link monster. 1 Imduk, 1 Ib, 1 Aurum, and 1 Ningirsu. I actually got a second Orm today. I would put it in the extra deck, but I don't have enough sleeves. So only have a 13-card extra deck. Otherwise, I would have a Nightmare Goblin in here along with Honeybot. But, yeah, so Imduk, he has a pretty good destruction effect if you can pull it off by having a point to opponent's monster. Also, it gives you the free extra normal summon for a World Chalice. Ib, if she's linked, cannot be destroyed by battle card effects, and cannot be targeted with card effects. And if a monster this card points to be destroyed by a card effect, you can send this card to the grave instead, kind of like a reverse proxy dragon. Aurum arguably has one of the best effects out of the 4. You gain 300 attack for each World Legacy monster in your grave with a different name, so you can only get like 300 attack, which would make him a 2300 beater. You contribute a World Chalice monster this card points to, and target another monster in your grave and special summon it to your zone this card points to. I like using like Ib and Imduk or something, or like at least Ib and something else to summon Aurum, then activate Ib's effect to summon a World Chalice to a zone that Aurum points to. Tribute that World Chalice, and then summon Ib back, and then you get a free Ningirsu. And so, yeah, and you can summon any monster in your grave, actually. Special summon it to the zone this card points to. Leaves effect once per turn. If this card's sent from the field, grave, yeah, blah, blah, blah. All of them have the effect if they're sent from the field to the grave. Special summon a World Chalice from your hand. And then finally, Ningirsu, the World Chalice Warrior. He's probably the most, like, quote-unquote costly Link monster in the deck. He requires 2 or more Link monsters. But in my opinion, think it's worth it. Up, left, and right arrows. These cards link summon, draw cards equal to the number of World Chalice monsters this card points to. You can only use the effect once per turn, so that means you can get multiple draws. Like, say, 1 turn is pointing to, like, an Ib and an Aurum. Then, boom, that's 2 draws. And the next turn it's pointing to, like, 3 of them. Boom, that's 3 draws. And once per turn, you can send a card from each player's field to the graves. Which is good if you have something like, really any like spell or trap on your field or any monster that would gain benefit from being sent to the grave. And then it's also yeah, it's targeting, but it's not destruction, so that's pretty great in case your opponent has any cards that activate effects upon being destroyed. And then he also has the effect of special summoning the World Chalice in hand. That is it for the extra deck. The side deck, one-dimensional barrier, which is in my Fluffals right now, but I will add it to here if I ever do anything competitive with this, which I probably won't. One extra security block, because that's where I just put my extra when I was done. Same with the World Legacy World Chalice. And then a backlinker, because backlinker's effect, it's a pretty good tech card, but it can be situational. Like, say, if your opponent uses rituals, you can't activate his special summoning effect. And also, it wouldn't even be useful to activate his shuffling effect that shuffles all extra monsters and monsters into the grave. Not into the grave. What am I saying? Into the deck. So, yep, that's about it for the deck profile.